Today we are talking about matriarchal leadership. For men, it's so important for matriarchal leadership to be an everyday embodiment for you as well. It actually allows you to embrace. It is the most important thing to be able to tune into our intuition. The reason that we find tuning into our intuition so hard is because welcome, Wisdom Keepers, Soul Tribe, and New Earth leaders to Soul Temple, your haven for growth and self-discovery. I am Blythe Langford, and I'm going to be your guide to helping you find yourself and your true purpose. Together, let's shift from feeling stuck and misaligned to living a life of purpose and pleasure and prosperity. Today, we are talking about matriarchal leadership. And I'm really excited to bring a different point of view to this because people can be like, what do you mean the world would go nowhere with matriarchal leadership? It means that we're going to be all soft and flowy and creative and not doing anything or getting anything done. When in actual fact, it is the complete opposite. A woman in her power or matriarchal power is fierce yet soft, bold and strong, and assertive but supportive and nurturing. So I personally, it would be so beneficial to our world if we could step away from dictatorship style of leadership and come back more into a feminine flow of the matriarch and supportive of all individuals and supportive of the planet as well. Because I truly believe that our dictatorship patriarchal model has actually caused so much greed and harm to our planet and to individuals and to the human spirit. So we're going to be talking about different things to do with the matriarch today. We're going to be talking about matriarchal leadership principles, qualities of the matriarch, shifting from the patriarch and dictatorship to divine leadership, from forced to fierce flow. And I'm going to talk to you about modern day matriarchs as well, because I think that's really interesting to see different societies that are actually doing that. I was fascinated by this and how it can be benefit for you, to your business, and to our planet. So I really wanted to share on this topic specifically because of my own change and shift within my businesses, because I was really masculine in my businesses, in my leadership when I first started, because I thought you needed to be really strong and powerful and fierce and fiery. And we also have a lot of flies around today, so excuse me while I might be not so vegan and kill things. It was just a huge shift for me, and I wanted to just really bring this to light. A lot of women in leadership also feel like they are very masculine in their approach to business and not sure how to come into their feminine leadership. Or similarly, men are feeling like they're very much a dictator, but they want to also bring in their feminine essence so they can be more embodied as leaders. So that's why I wanted to share about this topic, because I feel like it is beneficial to men and women, to business, to home life, and then also to our society at large. And of course, most importantly to me, Mother Earth. So here's the difference that I learnt about myself, about my freedom, and the impact on my teams, my clients, and also, most importantly in a business, the profit margins as well. So embodying the matriarch in leadership to me means embracing deep instinctual qualities of feminine divinity that center around care, collaboration, and wisdom. Because unlike the patriarch leadership models that prioritize control and dominance and individualization, and that's what we know, right? Like that's what we know, and a lot of us have been brought up that way. We've all been brought up in a patriarchal society that has us being controlled from a top-down leadership so that we're always in a submissive position, and that's how we tend to run our business as well, where we are that top-down leader that is controlling, telling everybody what to do, and it really doesn't embrace the creativity within our teams, our individual staff members, and that also ripples through into our clients. We're not actually empowering our team, and we really lose that creative flow, because when we are coming from a matriarch, the duality of embodying the masculine and the feminine, their sacred, rather than in their juvenile or their toxic stance, we actually allow the people around us, our teams, to step up and be creative and not be scared to actually use their intuition, not scared to make mistakes, not scared to take risks. And that's what really creates empowered team members. And that's what creates freedom for you as the business owner, because when your team are in this space, then they can really step up, and it means that you can step out of the business more and have more freedom to do whatever the fuck you want. So I want to touch on qualities of the matriarchal leadership. So the first one is integrity. And this word has been thrown around so much, especially in my companies where I used to work, billion-dollar brands, that really threw around this word integrity a lot. And I find that the people that throw around the word integrity, oh my gosh, this is too touche, are the ones that really lack integrity. Or the ones that throw around the word sovereignty are the ones that are most not sovereign in their lives. So yes, the words that we are trying to embody and embrace are generally the ones that we struggle with the most. So for me, integrity means being true to your word, true to your values, no matter what. Now, that does not mean that you say you're going to do something and then you show up for that no matter what, even if it kills you. It means tuning into what's right for you, the community, and the collective. And if you have to honor yourself in that moment and what you agreed to in the past isn't continuing to be aligned, then you step into your truth, because that is integrity. And I know a lot of entrepreneurs are like, no, fuck, that's not what it is. Integrity means keeping to your word no matter what. Keeping to your word, even if it's like against alignment with your soul, that to me is very patriarchal. And I'm talking about being intuitive and being in our matriarchal flow, which is the divinity of the masculine and the feminine, not needing to stick to our word no matter what. We're not in a war against ourselves or against anybody else. We're talking about life and being in flow and allowing intuitiveness to flow into us so that we align more deeply with our actions and with our values. So back to integrity. This creates trust. It fosters a strong ethical foundation in any community or organization, which I really noticed for myself. I always used to be in patriarchal integrity, which was, I'm going to stick to my word no matter what, and I would show up no matter what. And it was not the best in alignment with my morals and my values and what I stood for. And when I started to shift, and it really was abrasive to my team. It was abrasive to people, because people can tell when you don't want to fucking be there, but you're showing up because you're like, I want to stick to my word because I'm all about my word. Okay, cool. It's not 1942. We're not in a gunfight. Let's move on and actually be in alignment with our soul, the planet, and energy, because that is what is life force, right? So that's that's the huge difference when we're going from patriarchal integrity to matriarchal integrity, where we're actually in alignment with our soul and our spirit all the time. And it's actually what's going to be in greatest service for us and the people around us most. And of course, that filters through to our business, our organization, our teams, and our clients, and to our profit margins. Now, the second matriarchal quality is wisdom, divine wisdom. The matriarch draws on her life experience because she's a little bit older in her energy, not necessarily in her age, but in her energy. She's able to draw on that ancestral knowledge, that ancestral wisdom to make informed decisions that benefit the collective rather than focusing on short-term or individual gains and greed. Now, let me know if that resonates for you, because so many people are all about, or the patriarchal model is all about individual gains and greed, all about short-term focus that is literally fucking our planet, fucking individuals, and breaking down family units, breaking down businesses. Look at how much tax you pay in your business. Is that sustainable? Is that ethical of somebody that is supposed to be supporting you when they take that much money out of your hard earnings to put into corporations that are not in alignment with serving the greater good of humanity, that are not in alignment with serving the greater good of this planet? It is a greed model that has a trajectory of this planet and humanity living only 80 years. So here in the country, we literally have to pay like $4 or $6 every quarter just to get our trash taken away. And then what do they do with it? They put it in the earth. It's just an unsustainable model. How are we in 2024 where we haven't figured out a way for better waste control and waste management? Even in my salons back in the day, we had 10 different bins and we would recycle everything. There was no waste, and I just don't understand how we as a society, whilst we're killing our countries and our water and our planet, literally have not even figured out the most simple of things, like what we do with our waste. It's such a patriarchal corporation model of greed that has no intelligence, no intellect behind it. Because if anybody was to think about 50 years in the future, even just 50 years, they'd realize, oh shit, we killed everything. We can't live on this planet. The moon's barren as fuck. How are we actually going to enjoy living there? Because, people are like, we'll just move to the moon or Mars. Those planets are so barren. So if we can tune into our innate feminine wisdom and use this as part of the leadership and the leaders around the world, then this would have massive gains to not only us, but future generations, and then also the sustainability of the life of this planet. Now, the number 3 key trait of matriarchal leadership, I personally believe, is intuition. Intuition is the guiding foresight on everything, whether you're male, female, alien, whatever. It is the most important thing to be able to tune into our intuition. And the reason that we find tuning into our intuition so hard is because we've grown up through the patriarchal system in school systems that were created by the Rockefellers because they literally wanted slaves in factory work. And that's what every single one of us has been mentally manipulated and programmed into being, a slave-based worker, where we will do what we say, be able to regurgitate information and not actually use our intuition. Mate, it's the same as the cows over here. As soon as one of the cows is born and they try to get out of the paddock, they're like, oh, that's a bad cow. It's not doing what I say. It's like, yeah, because it's not so docile as fuck and it's not going along with the pack. It's actually using its innate wisdom to realize, I'm stuck here. I'm actually going to die. They want to kill me. I don't want to grow up like this. I'm going to choose a different way for myself and my family, and I'm going to escape. And they're like, this dumb cow. It's like, it's probably the smartest one in the pack. It's the same as us. As soon as we're doing something that's a little bit out of the system, that's it. Kill the motherfucker. Put him in jail. Like, literally, there has been a law passed in Queensland that if you say something that triggers or offends anybody, and that can be somebody that is completely mentally ill, if you say anything that triggers anybody on social media, you can go to jail for 3 years. You can go to jail for upsetting anybody by what you say on social media. Sounds pretty top-down leadership to me. Sounds like there is no freedom of speech. Sounds very patriarchal. You better get back in your box and not say anything that's going to upset anybody ever. Sounds like you cannot use your intuition. Sounds like you need to go back to being a slave. Because that's what it is. It's modern day slavery at its best. So if our leaders are, it gives me goosebumps too, if our leaders are projecting this model and penetrating this model into society, then what are the outcomes of this for not only ourselves, but our children when we can't actually say the things that are really important to us? It's actually gotten to the point where people that are mentally ill have the ability to have us suppress our thoughts and our emotions. Wow, what a world. What are we stepping into? What did we sign up to? What are we continuing to sign up to that breeds this? So you can see that when we don't use our intuition, crazy shit in this world happens. And it can be so risky not to trust our intuitive guidance that is connected to the oneness of all, that is literally source itself working through us in an instinctive way that actually creates these triggers so people can grow through where they are stuck. Because if somebody is mentally ill and they're triggered, amazing, you're welcome. Let's use this trigger and grow through it, because it's obviously a part of you that is unhealed and inside of you that really gets to come out and be seen and expressed and embodied, rather than continuing to be suppressed and keeping us mentally and physically and emotionally and financially broke, right? Because so many of us are broke as fuck spiritually, financially, energetically, all of the things, and mentally as well. So it's really important that we're able to bring this intuition and this guidance back into our everyday lives and use that instead of this top-down slavery model that has us programmed mentally, that is literally our guiding force at the moment. Like, we are so disattached or so disassociated from our innate guidance, our innate intuition, that the program of our schooling system, which was modern day slavery, is literally what is the guiding force in our lives, which is keeping us numb, sick, stuck, and killing our planet and killing our future generations. Now, the fourth matriarchal quality, I personally believe, is ethics. Yum. Turn me on with the word ethics. I personally believe matriarchal leaders prioritize ethical choices because they are sustainable for both people, individuals, communities, the planet, all creatures and beings. So when we embody ethics, we often ensure that resources are used responsibly and that every action contributes to the greater good. Now, I remember when I was in primary school, ethics was actually a class instead of going to religion. It only lasted for a few years before the public schooling system shut it down in a lot of places because it was too controversial to have people actually embodying ethics. You cannot care for other people. I was literally put into therapy by my parents when I was 13 or 14 because I cared too much about my brothers and sisters who were younger than me. I cared too much about them like a matriarchal leader would. And they put me into therapy because that was abnormal to actually care that much. Oh my God, what is this world that we live in? So I'm just putting that out there because we are just suppressing this divinity that is within all of us because we all have the desire to care for other beings. That's why when we were kids and we'd watch something on the TV, an advertisement about animals or about these kids in poverty, we'd cry. And often our parents or people around us would laugh. They're like, oh, you're so emotional. No, you're literally watching somebody suffering. Of course, it's emotional and it's a lot. And anybody that has any ethical stance or bone in their body would care. But we have been numbed out of caring so much. So if we can bring our ethical resources and our ethical guidance back in, then that's what could change everything in a heartbeat, because poverty in this planet could literally change in 6 months if we actually used matriarchal intuition. I hope you are loving this episode, but I'm just giving it a pause here because I want to tell you about a really amazing masterclass I have. It's totally free. We'll pop it in the show notes below. It goes through a really cool soul activation so that you can get to the depths of your purpose and also help you uncover why you're here on this planet, what you're really passionate about, go through how to create a blueprint, how you can actually action that into the world. So I highly recommend you looking out for this masterclass. It's called Missions for Millions, and it will allow you to go to greater depths within your soul, within your spirit, within your life, all of the things. It's yummy. So get on it, guys. Back to the episode. I hope you are loving it. The number 5 quality for matriarchal leadership, I personally believe, is sustainability. These leaders think long-term, working towards a future plan for where the community is going to thrive without having to deplete the natural world. That's literally what I'm doing on my land. So decisions that are made not just for profit or immediate gains, but for long-lasting impact on future generations. So as I've said, what I want to do on my land is I've looked into creating a free energy water device so that I'm not using solar panels because the batteries have lots of lithium in them and they don't break down and it just creates more waste in the world. I want to use water because water heals everything. This is what I thought about. How cool is this? Okay, so I'm going to create a waterfall because I have really big hills here. The water would literally go through this wheel and over time it would create energy. And governments are already using this. They just don't tell you that their whole city is being energized by water. So there's so many ways that you can set these things up. And if you're doing it yourself, then they can be really inexpensive, or you can find people that have these devices already made as well. But, try things out yourself. Like I have just been researching this myself for like quite a few years. I used to have a friend, Nate, you're a legend, who used to have his car powered on water. Like people do this all the time. It's just that it's illegal because it's free. The governments wouldn't make any money if everybody was running their cars off water, right? There's literally a woman in Africa, in South Africa, that created a free energy device just off air. The air turns into condensation in this box, and then the condensation literally comes down, falls down, and because that's gravity fed, that literally creates enough force for this machine, this device, to create energy and power their entire house or their community. It's like amazing what's out there. So these ethical decisions are really matriarchal in their approach or divine in their approach, whether they're matriarchal or a divine masculine. It's that culmination and that perfect duality of care and sustainability and ethics within us. that really will help change this planet forever. Now, the sixth quality of matriarchal leadership is liberation. Oh my gosh, these words, do they just turn you on? Because liberation turns me on so much. So true matriarchal leadership involves liberation of others. And this provides the autonomy and the empowerment of individuals to be their best selves whilst they contribute to the collective success. And fuck yes, don't we want that? Like to be able to be, fully embracing all parts of ourselves, all of the ickiness, all of the amazing parts, learning and growing from ourselves so that we can be part of bettering the planet and bettering all those people that we love around us. And so these qualities are what help us shift from the dictator, patriarchal model of society to the supportive, nurturing matriarchal that empowers and uplifts. And this changes and allows our leaders to develop stronger, more meaningful connections with their teams, their communities, and then if leaders do want to lead, with the people that they're leading as well, so that they don't have to just choose the best of a bad bunch, but you've actually got people behind you that fucking become like how at old school used to be, that they would fight to the death for you because they believe so much in what your mission and your statement and your ethics and your sustainability and all of these amazing models are all about. So once we step back into that softness and that fierceness of the matriarch that isn't afraid to stand firm in her decisions and is able to go from that place of wisdom and nurturing rather than aggression and abrasiveness, then she balances out that strength with empathy, embodies a powerful mix of assertiveness and caringness, and then is able to benefit the immediate circle, but also the broader society. Now, why I personally think this would be beneficial for our world is society has been operating so long under this patriarchal society, and it's so suppressive. This leadership often results in imbalances in the environment. It disenfranchises the vulnerable. Like, look at the vulnerable on our planet, how much they are suffering, as if this model is supporting them at all. It's divide and conquer, separate, individualize, and have people hating on each other and continuing to be in war, promoting individualization over community well-being. So the matriarchal model offers radical alternative, one that is really restoring the balance of the individual, of the collective, of the planet and all creatures and beings so that we can come back into this divine union because we are all one here on this planet. Our human race is one. We're the only race on this planet that thinks we aren't connected. And that's because of this top-down patriarchal leadership. So once we can remember and be awakened to the fact that, fuck, we're one human race. Oh my God, I've always been trying to find the difference between us, rather than actually seeing the beauty in the resonance between us. We can come back into that heart-centered love connection within each individual. It's so matriarchal. Like, so many mothers literally say to me, you don't know what it's like to actually love somebody so much you would kill for them. I'm like, yeah, I do, because I'd be like that with all of my friends, my dog, my family. Like, I've had that ever since I was a child, and people just think that I'm abnormal. But it's because I embody matriarchal qualities. And that's what all of us have inside of us. And from that experience, we can paradigm shift this world. And for men, it's so important for matriarchal leadership to be an everyday embodiment for you as well, rather than you coming from that top-down leadership where you're actually pushing your team, your clients, your loved ones away. It actually allows you to embrace that feminine fierceness within you that encourages you and your community and your loved ones to be vulnerable, to embrace collaboration and empathy. It allows you to tune into your intuitive guidance, which turns you the fuck on without sacrificing your strength. It actually allows you to be more autonomous in your approach and actually empowers your masculinity, connected with your femininity, and rather than seeing anything as opposite, seeing them as the complete wholeness within you that is the environment around you. So for the planet, this type of leadership could lead to more sustainable choices, respecting the Earth's natural rhythms and cycles, which is no different to the natural rhythms and cycles that are within us. So like most Indigenous matriarchal societies have done for centuries, and they still exist. We've got the Indians. Now, I don't know, I'm really bad with pronunciation, so I do apologize for my Aussie terrible pronunciations, but the matriarchal societies that are still thriving right now, I'm going to just take you through 5. There is India Khatsi tribe. Now, these women are known for their matriarchal system where these women inherit property. These tribes women live in the mountains, and it's a strong community that bonds and empowers women to hold on to leadership positions within their community. Now, another beautiful tribe is China's Mosu people. This society has been known for its matriarchal structure where women lead families and economic decisions, fostering a deep respect for maternal roles and feminine authority. And this community really thrives, so look them up too. Now, this name, the third one, really has got me, but it's Indonesia's Minangkabau, I apologize, people, the largest matriarchal society in our present world, where female control the land, the wealth, and promoting a balanced form of leadership that prioritizes sustainability and communal well-being. Turn me on anymore. Got goosebumps. Fucking love that. Yes, sisters. And number 4 is Ghana's Akan people. Their matriarchal structure enforces and ensures that women hold significant influence in decision-making daily, particularly regarding family and community matters. And number 5 is Costa Rica's Bribi people. Now, this society highlights that female leadership can actually be an integral part to preservation of culture as well as the environment, as these women are literally stewards of the land, which is what I feel like I am, is a steward of the land. I'm not an owner, I'm a steward. And this allows us to go back to this utopian vision for building a better future. Now, the reason that I brought up these 5 tribes is because these are societies that exist now. They've been existing for who knows how long the earth has been around with these women there. And it works for everybody. It allows men to be in their divine masculine whilst these women are in their divine feminine as well. So it actually creates so much more freedom and joy and pleasure for everybody involved. There isn't these pressures of societal norms that we have in the West. And these communities are thriving. These communities function so much better. And when you actually look into it, they're not suffering mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, financially. They're not suffering with role identity issues. They're not suffering with children being brought up in environments where they're outside of a supportive family unit. Things are done differently. There is wealth there because it's passed down generationally, and it's made sure that it is passed down so that everybody benefits, the men, the women, the children. So I just think there is so much to learn from these Indigenous cultures that have been running this way for centuries. And what's not to say that most Indigenous cultures ran this way, but because a lot of those cultures have been taken over by the patriarch and then shifted their role models of the world, they have broken down the original matriarch in all Indigenous cultures. And that's why to us it is so foreign, yet it is every Indigenous cultures. I'm just saying this, it's not true. I'm just saying this, that it could potentially be true, that every Indigenous culture was potentially a more matriarchal society. Think about it. They had queens, they had priestesses. It was only when kings came in that, there was priestesses and kings and queens. They worked together in a symbiotic relationship. I only believe that possibly it's been in the last few thousand years where things have slipped over to the matriarch. Whereas prior to that, it was more matriarchal because women were the ones that created birth. Absolutely, men were the ones that seeded the birth, but everything worked in harmony. So I just put that there as a little bit of, what do you think about that? Can you tune into that? What does that feel like to you? And with this knowledge and wisdom, don't you think that matriarchal leadership could be beneficial to our planet and to society? Can you literally imagine a society where leadership is collective, instinctual, assertive, one where it's like the beautiful care of Mother Earth. A mother extends her helping hand to everybody around them. This would shift not only our businesses and our community, but planetary healing, creating a world that thrives on mutual respect and shared responsibility. And this is literally what I create within my programs, I personally believe. One where I am able to support women one-on-one to come back to their sacred what I call it, is to come back to building utopia within and externally. It's sacred women's business. One where you can come back into nurturing your self-worth, nurturing your femininity, remembering what it feels like to be a feminine embodied leader, whilst embracing your masculine flow too, because we just want divine union within you. And that really comes from empowerment, because many women are like, I'm super empowered, Blythe. I'm so empowered in my business. I am so strong. I'm so confident. Amazing. Well, let me ask you this. What would you be like if you didn't have the Botox? What would you be like if you didn't have that glass of wine every night to numb out? What would you be like, or what would it feel like if you weren't able to have a shopping spree every week? All of these are literally forms of numbing out and avoiding who you are at your core. Because if you are worthy, you love yourself no matter what, no matter how you show up. A beautiful sister said to me this week, she's like, breast implants can be so empowering for women. Absolutely. If they don't have another way of empowering themselves, then they will go into cosmetic surgery as a way to help themselves feel worthy. But that's not their natural state of being. Let's fall in love with our natural state of being and who we are, because we want to be able to grow up. We don't want to be frozen in a moment in time where we are a juvenile woman. In order to be an embodied matriarch, we have to grow up and absorb and incorporate all the wisdom that we have learnt throughout our lives. And that doesn't happen in our 20s. So why do we want to be frozen in this moment in time where we look like we're 20? It's inorganic and it's unnatural. So if that's something that's triggering you, amazing. Because that's a little part of you that is, or maybe a big part of you that feels unworthy to be your organic state, to be in your divine femininity, to actually step into matriarchal embodiment and leadership. And so if that is something that you want to step into, then reach out, tune in, book a call with me, because then we can actually go through where there are areas in your life that you potentially can step into growth, that you can actually step into greater depths of worthiness, that you can actually step into greater feminine leadership, where you can actually go from being the bottleneck in your business to being liberated and liberating those team members in your business as well, so that you can step into pure leadership that is expansive and freeing for not only you, yourself, your clients, your team, but also for your profit margins as well. So I hope this episode not only triggered you in many areas, because these triggers are beautiful representations of things that are unhealed or untethered with inside of you. So let me know in the notes below, what is triggering you on this? What is hard for you to absorb, or what do you not understand or want to learn more of? Because then we can dive deeper into that, or I'll answer you in the comments as well. But I hope this allowed you to see that matriarchal leadership could potentially benefit you, your family, and the planet, and all of those generations that are here in your lineage yet to come. Much love, beautiful people. Thank you so much for joining me on Soul Temple. If this episode spoke to your soul, I would love your support with a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And don't forget, please subscribe on your favorite platform too. Don't let your journey end here. Connect with me and my like-minded community of beautiful souls at Blythe Langford on all social platforms. I look forward to diving with you deeper on your journey.